What's going on, everybody? And welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. Hold on, can you guys hear me? Because I cannot hear myself and I don't know what. Oh, now I understand why. Yes, you could hear me before. What's going on? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Welcome to the War Room, the place where we gather every Tuesday night at 8:30 to talk about music, to talk about the world in general, what's going on in all of our lives, sports, whatever it is. This is where we started getting together back on March 14th of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. We got together 80 nights in a row because let's face it, there was nothing else to do. And then when we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast in June of 2020, we turned Cocktails in the War Room into the weekly show that you know it as now. And there's a lot to talk about tonight. So first things first, if you are new to the War Room, you got to let us know in the comments whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or Twitch, and let us know where you're watching from. And the OG War Room family, as they have dubbed themselves, would like to be able to greet you properly, like Marcy and Keith and Sherry and Alexis and Donna and Jessica and Rachel and Keith and Kim and Dawn and Ash is joining us. Also, Denise. Let's see. Kevin is watching on YouTube. JMG on Instagram. If you watch on Instagram, I can't see your username. Like, I only see like your handle. I don't see your actual name. So you got to let me know on Instagram what your name is. Tracy and Donna. Let's see. Brett is here. Kevin on YouTube. Lisa. Bish is here. Trina. Hello. What's up, Jake? I'm new. Insta Lunenburg, Mass. Thank you for hanging out with us in the War Room. If you're just tuning in, we like to give away tickets sometimes here in the War Room. And I have got Falling in Reverse tickets for the God as a Weapon tour Saturday night at the Xfinity Center with Slaughter to Prevail and Hollywood Undead to give away a little bit later on in the show. So don't go anywhere if you want to go to that show. What's up, Dina and Lindsay? Hello, Heidi. Just in case you guys are new and you're not sure what the hell is going on over here. Hey guys, ladies, come over here. Come here. What's mommy got? Over here. This is Wednesday and that's Friday. That is the Pug Cam. They are the co-hosts. You can find them on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug and follow along with their hijinks. But they usually derail the show within like the first 4 minutes. So I apologize if the production value slips slightly because, well, they like to wrestle on the couch and they like to chew things they're not supposed to. But they're cute, so we keep them around. So they get their own camera, but that's the Pug Cam. So yeah, that's them. And they'll show up on my lap, they'll bark, they'll make noise. Sometimes we bribe them with treats or gifts in the mail call to get them to hang out with us. But either way, Sherry says, Blueberry Cobbler for anybody. What's up, Sully on Instagram? If you're new to the War Room, if you go to mistresscarrie.com, which is where you can find all things Mistress Carrie. So if I'm popping up on your algorithm for some reason and you didn't know that I had a website, if you didn't know I had a podcast, if you didn't know that I'm back on the radio, sorry, I'm picking up pug toys here. Everything is linked at mistresscarrie.com. But if you go in my blog, or if you go to the Cocktails in the War Room section, there's a link for what we call the dictionary. And basically, that is the glossary of all of the inside jokes and terms over the last 300 and how many episodes is it now? It's like insane. So that you can get caught up and you don't get left out. And Blueberry Cobbler is one of those inside jokes. So what's up, Melissa? She says, hello, War Room family, Wednesday, Friday. Tracy says, wild pugs. Bish says, the girls are feisty. Oh, yeah, you have no idea. I don't know what it is with them today, but they have been very wound up all day, and so they're going to wrestle over a bottle of vodka right now because that's what they do. But yes, you can tell Wednesday and Friday that you have treats for them. Yeah, because they know where the cookie pocket is, which I believe is a term that's in the dictionary because it sounds dirty. Yes, Bish, the pug hole, exactly. Karina says, Cheez-Its will never get old. Josh says, what's up, fuckers? Episode 326. Thank you, Carol. I knew it was up there. I have to keep track of the episode numbers of the podcast and keep track of the episode numbers of Cocktails in the War Room, and those numbers aren't the same. And so this week we're episode 275 of the podcast, but it's episode 326 of Cocktails in the War Room. I do reserve the right to cancel the War Room every now and again when there's a concert or something going on a Tuesday night. When I travel, I like to take you guys with me, but it's not always possible. When I went to Italy, it was not easy to get. The Wi-Fi was not good. The time change killed me. But I do like to take you guys with me, but that's why the episode numbers are off. So sometimes I forget. Oh my God. Have you tried the Baconator Cheez-Its, Rachel? No. There's Baconator Cheez-Its? Is this a new thing? I liked the extra toasty Cheez-Its. Those are always my favorite because my mom loved Cheez-Its growing up. Like when I was a kid, my mom was that mom that had the big purse that had everything in the big purse. She was that mom. And mom always had snacks. She always had that green sticks of Wrigley spearmint gum with the aluminum foil. She loved that gum. She was a smoker, so she always had a purse with her. So she had her butts with her and a lighter, obviously. But my mom always had snacks, like a lot of moms do. They always keep snacks around because if you've got kids, kids like snacks and it shuts them up. And Cheez-Its was always one of those go-to snacks that we all loved. My sister and I, my mom, and we used to hunt for the burnt ones back then when they would let the burnt ones slide by. And now they make burnt ones, specifically like a whole package of the burnt ones, extra toasty for people like me. So I like the extra toasty Cheez-Its, but I didn't know there was the bacon ones. They even make Cheez-It pizza now, and it's not bad, said Sully on Instagram. I'll believe you. I haven't tried it yet, but I am all about trying new snacks, as you guys are very well aware. So we couldn't fit in the overhead compartment. Bish, if I could have taken you guys, look, if I won Powerball, if I won like the $1.7 billion or something, there would be some kind of War Room extravaganza. The backstage pass holders definitely would have gotten some extra treatment, but the War Room fam, we would have done something. But I did not win Powerball, even though I tried. So what's up, Lou, on Instagram? Yes, Dina, the extra toasty. Burnt is the best, says Brett. Exactly. It's just, my husband thinks that I eat everything burnt because I like, look, if you're going to toast or an English muffin or a bagel, if you toast it just enough so it's like warm, but it's still doughy and it's not crunchy, that's not toasted. That's warm. You could do that in a microwave. If you're going to toast something, it should have brown on it. I'm to the point where I almost will burn it, but not quite. There's like, I'm a setting 4.5 on the toaster. My husband is a setting 3. We have a toaster with 2 sides. We each have our own setting because that's how we're still married. These are the things that you have to compromise on. So, Bish says, Carrie, we call them dots. Oh, the cigarettes. Yeah, the bitch sticks. Because my mom smoked the 100s. So we used to call them bitch sticks when I got a little bit older. Let's see. You guys are talking about the Sox. Jason says they're in Sacramento playing the A's. Let's see. Jason says, what's up to the War Room family? Still hanging in there, says Lou. That's fantastic. Heidi says, I also like my pizza well done. So I took my husband to Santarpio's, which if you are from the greater Boston area, it is a legendary pizza place that's literally like the exit before the airport. You come out of the tunnel and you can like duck off the exit before you get to the airport. And Santarpio's is there. It's been there for 1,000 years. If you go in there and ask for a menu, they know that you're like a tourist. And they cook their pizza so that it gets those brown, crispy sections on the cheese. And yeah, my husband's not a fan of that, but I love it. Santarpio's pizza is delicious. Carrie likes burnt to match the dark soul. Yeah, exactly, Bish. You know exactly. Hi, Friday. Are you saying hi to everyone, or just do you want to come up on my lap? Come on. It's okay. Sit down. Yeah, thank you. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Go ahead. You want to make some pug noises for everybody? That's why Mommy bought that very expensive and nice microphone so she can record pug noises on it. Friday is the Velcro pug. She is the most clingy pug of all the pugs I have had in my life, and she's number 6. She is the clingiest pug I've ever had. She has to be on my lap, touching me, breathing my air. When I take the dogs to bed with me, she lays on my chest and her head is like here and her whiskers tickle my neck. And sometimes it's hard to fall asleep, but that's how she is. She like has to be like with me all the time. So yeah, Cheez-Its, all the inside jokes, if you're new to the War Room, are there. So check out the dictionary. But I do have Falling in Reverse tickets to give away and an opportunity for you guys to hang out with me this weekend and next weekend in the events section. So we got to talk about that as well. So you guys have met the pugs. Early on in the show, I like to remind you guys that yes, I am in fact back on the radio, and there are a few different places that you can listen to me. And it doesn't matter where you're watching from, because all of these radio stations stream off their websites and they all have apps that you can download on your phone and you can listen to the station through the app. You can hear me every weekday afternoon from 10 to 3 in Charleston, South Carolina on 98 Rock, Charleston's best rock. You can go to my98rock.com and stream the station. You can also download the station app, and the Lunchbox every weekday at noon is an hour's worth of music that's different every day because of the theme, the year that the songs came out. Today we were talking about on-stage injuries, like famous on-stage injuries. So we played some Metallica because of James Hetfield getting burned by the pyro. We played some Aerosmith for when Joe Perry and Steven Tyler back in the 70s got injured because somebody threw an M80 on stage, when Axl Rose broke his ankle on stage, like stuff like that. Sometimes it's songs that are all from the same year. It changes every day. So that's the Lunchbox in the noon hour on 98 Rock in Charleston. You can hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on 100 FM The Pike out of Worcester, Mass. You can go to pikefm.com and stream the station. You can download the Pike app. And the Pike is going to have a booth this weekend at Silver Scream Con at the DCU Center in Worcester. And I'm going to be broadcasting live from that booth on Friday afternoon for the start of Silver Scream Con, the horror and gore festival that is going to be happening all weekend at the DCU. That is the brainchild of Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. You can also hear me every weekday afternoon on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. The cash grab starts on Monday on the show, and you can go to 1063thebone.com and download the Bone app if you want to listen to that show every weekday afternoon. And the most recent station, I told you guys that there would be barking. The most recent station we added on Valentine's Day this year, Mornings with Mistress Carrie, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Laser 99.3 and 98.5 in Springfield, Mass. You can listen at laser993.com. You can download the free Laser app, but there's a bunch of different places for you guys to be able to hear me on the radio every weekday. And all the shows are different. They're custom made for those stations, and it depends on how classic you like your rock, how new you like your rock. If you like it, a blend of both. All the shows are different. Okay, so we were talking about Silver Scream Con. It kicks off on Friday afternoon at the DCU Center Convention Center in Worcester. It is a 3-day horror, gore, and like music and metal festival. Spencer Charnas and Ice Nine Kills started it 4 years ago. Last year, it relocated to the DCU Center. I am an official featured vendor again this year, so I'm going to have a big booth. So there'll be merch available. We're going to have specials for people that come and get merch there at the con. And so I'll be there all 3 days, Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday at the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. What do you have Friday? And then next weekend on the 20th, the Leominster, Massachusetts Johnny Appleseed Festival. Leominster, my hometown, is the birthplace of Johnny Appleseed. So every year they have a Johnny Appleseed Festival. Highly recommend the apple crisp. It's delicious. But if the weather is nice, they're expecting like 10,000 people. There's 250 vendors. I'm going to have a big booth there. Look for the giant skeletons. That's how you'll find me. And there'll be merch available there with specials there as well. So if you want to get a jump on your holiday shopping, or you just want to reward yourself, maybe because it's hoodie season in New England, I'm hoping to have the reflective beanies in. I don't know, unless they come in the next couple of days, if I'm going to have them at Silver Scream Con. But if not, I'm hoping that I'll have them by the Johnny Appleseed Festival. Otherwise, you'll be able to order those off the website. So, yes, Bish, Dave Grohl breaking his ankle. We played some Foo Fighters in the lunchbox today on 98 Rock. So every day there's a different theme on that show in the noon hour, which is really cool. We like to keep it a little bit fresh. One of the other things we like to do on the show for anybody that's new is we like to go through the bartender's books that I have here in the War Room, which is where the bar is in my house. So the War Room has always been a room in my house. It's not a set. It's not a place that I designed for this show. The War Room existed for years before the show. We just started coming in here and getting together in 2020 because this is where my bar is. But it's also where all of the military memorabilia is that is from my family's and generations of service, and also my trips overseas. But because the bar's here, people over the years have gifted me with really cool bartender books. So if you guys ever find cool bartender books, you got to let me know. Because everybody's gardens are starting to come to an end, which mine is still out of control right now, I saw this drink recipe because it has a lot of herbs in it. And I thought it would be cool if you wanted to put some of those herbs that you grew this year to good use. It's called a Scarborough Fair. It's got gin in it, so I'm warning you right now. It's got 2 ounces of Plymouth gin, a 1/4 ounce of Chambéry, it's called. Not Chambord, Chambéry. And a sprig of thyme, a sprig of rosemary, a sprig of flat leaf parsley, and 2 fresh sage leaves. It says muddle the sage, parsley, and the Chambéry. What the hell is a Chambéry? I have no idea. And then muddle those in a shaker, add the gin, shake, and then strain into a cocktail glass and garnish with the rosemary and thyme leaves and serve. So there you go. I thought that was really cool. It's called a Scarborough Fair, and it is not cranberry. It's Chambéry, and I don't know what that means, but there you go. Frank says, hey, Carrie, have a good time at the DCU. Thank you. The guy who plays Freddy Krueger is getting a star on the Walk of Fame, as he should. Did you get any new hoodies for Halloween? Heidi wants to know. No. However, we did design some new artwork. And so that does mean that we are going to start working. There's the pullover hoodies, and then there's the zip up War Room hoodies. We just made some new artwork, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. And so I'm hoping to start making some new t-shirts, tank tops, and hoodies. But as of now, I've got 2 black hoodies, the zip up hoodie and the pullover hoodie. The pullover hoodies go up to 4X. The zip up hoodies go up to 3X. And so they should fit pretty much almost anybody. So that's your cocktail recipe. Recapping last week's podcast episode, episode 274 of the Mistress Carrie podcast featured Sunny Sandoval from POD, who's going to be at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway on October 7th, opening up for Seether and Daughtry. And we were talking about the collabs. Actually, if you've got kids that moved away to college, Sunny and his wife are now empty nesters. So we talked a lot about what that parenting is like to all of a sudden he's got 3 kids and they're either out of college or in college right now. We talked about Ozzy, obviously. We talked about all of the festival shows that the band has played over the years. And we also talked about this upcoming tour with Daughtry and Seether, among other things. So if you're a POD fan, or even if you're not, Sunny is just literally one of the nicest people in rock and roll. So you should definitely check it out. Trina says a Chambéry is a simple 3-minute cocktail made by filling a champagne glass with cranberry juice and topping it with chilled champagne and garnishing it with a strawberry. But why would you then add that to this? That's weird. Maybe you make that drink first and then put all the herbs and the gin in there. I don't know. Maybe there is a mocktail one somewhere. Maybe. Gin is disgusting. Eric, I agree with you. There's dairy drinks that we decided during the pandemic were a dangerous thing. Drinks that have raw eggs in them. A lot of bartenders hate making them, but for some reason people enjoy them. I don't like those either. And also, I am not a gin person. My husband loves gin. I do not. It is just not my jam. So let's see. Brett said, I loved his story about peeing next to Ozzy. So I asked Sonny, because I knew that those guys were on the Ozfest for a couple of years in 2000 and 2002, which we talked about. I asked him to give me like his favorite Ozzy story, and he talked about meeting Ozzy the first time, standing next to each other at a urinal, which I just think is hilarious. So, yeah. These are the kinds of stories you get on the Mistress Carrie podcast. Episode 275 comes out at midnight tonight, and it features Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills. I wanted to talk to him this week because obviously Silver Scream Con is happening this weekend. So Spencer and I talked about the new music, the new video. We talked about putting the con together. We talked a lot now that all of the shows they opened up for Metallica were over, what that whole thing was like, looking back in the rear view about touring with Metallica for like 2.5 years. We talked about the con, obviously. We talked about the big show at the DCU Center that is going to be on Saturday night. So if you're going to go to the con in the convention center, that's one ticket. That doesn't get you into the arena unless you buy the package that gets you both. You can just go to the show in the arena, which is on Saturday night, and that's Ice Nine Kills, Dayseeker, The Funeral Portrait, Mest. So I wanted to talk to him about all of that kind of stuff, and then also find out what their touring plans are in 2026. So all of those questions are answered on this week's brand new episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast, which goes live at midnight tonight. So Eric says, was POD a Christian rock band? I was told it was. Yes and no. So Sonny and I actually talk a lot about his faith and the band member's faith every time he comes on the show. And part of the reason that I talk to him about it is because unlike a lot of very spiritual and religious people, Sonny, over the years, has proven himself and spoke very openly to not only be welcoming and to love those of all faiths, but also to be critical of Christians that don't follow the actual word, meaning to love everyone. Sonny is a very positive, like, life force. He's somebody that I have always gravitated towards because of his positivity. He loves everyone. He is gracious and he is selfless and he is just a wonderful human being. He's always happy to see you. He is one of those people that always tells you how he feels about you. You know, that he is, you know, he tells me all the time, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the help with the band. He's just one of those people that really wears his heart on his sleeve. And he and I have discussed the fact that we do not share the same faith. And unlike a lot of other people that claim to be devout in whatever faith they follow, there's always a fraction or a faction of that is unwelcoming to people of other faiths or people of no faith. And Sonny is that person that really prides himself on leading by example and leading by the word of his God, of Jesus, of loving his neighbor and helping people that have less than he does, and really living a selfless and positive life and being a force of good in the world. And so labeling them a Christian band, it's yes and no. I don't think that label correctly describes them, because when I think of a Christian band, I think of a band that proselytizes through their music, like sings about God. And that's kind of what they do. Whereas POD sings about all kinds of stuff. They just happen to be Christians. So yes and no. And I think they're far bigger on regular radio than they are on Christian radio. And I think partly because they were a band that did accept the invitation to tour on the Ozfest, where a lot of other Christian bands looked at that as something that was bad and evil and satanic. And that's what I mean. Like POD, they have their personal beliefs, but they never preach them to other people. They don't tell other people how to live. And so Sonny and I have always gotten along and have been able to have really adult conversations about differences in faith because of his openness and his honesty. And I just love him for that. Because he is so open-minded and really does try, and it's a goal of his to leave the world a better place than he found it. And I just think people like that, regardless of what God they pray to, or if they pray to no God at all, those are the people that I think need to be louder in this world. And he's just, all of the guys in POD are just wonderful. I have loved them for decades, and they always have a home here on the show. I can't wait to see them in Boston in October. So I guess, yes, are they a Christian band? Yes, but I don't think that necessarily describes their essence. I think that they are just a band where their members happen to be Christians. So there you go. Let's see. Skillet, Lou, that's not necessarily true. The guys and ladies in Skillet do preach. They do use their platform to try and convert people. They do use their platform to try and affect politics, which is something that POD does not do. So while Skillet is a Christian band in more of a sense of the word, where they get a lot of support on Christian rock radio, they are very open about their opinions, and some of those opinions are not as open and welcoming as I would say the guys in POD are, and that they do preach and use their faith in a way to kind of talk about how the world should be based on their faith alone, which is something that the guys in POD do not do. So there, in my opinion, and based on the fact that I have had numerous conversations with both bands and read numerous interviews that both bands have done in other places, they are distinctly different, in my opinion, in their message. So let's see. Eric says, okay, one more question. Is Ghost a Christian band? Yeah, I don't think that's the case. And if Tobias Forge is Christian, which I don't know if he is, he would be a Christian that definitely has his critiques of the church and his faith, if he is. And I don't know what his faith is, but yeah, he definitely has some strong opinions. That's for sure. Let's see. Betty says, running late tonight. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Well, you're not running that late. We haven't gotten to the birthdays yet. So the new episode of the podcast goes live at midnight tonight. All the episodes of the podcast, if you're wondering where you can listen and what you get when you subscribe to the podcast, you get weekly episodes that are the long form episodes. Those are the interviews with the rock stars. More often than not. Every once in a while, it's a veteran initiative or something. Hey, don't do that. Stop scratching my couch. But you also get the weekly situation reports, which you get Monday through Friday, that are about 5, 6, 7 minutes long. And it gives you rock news, music headlines, entertainment updates, all of that kind of stuff. You can also get mini sit reps, which are about a minute long if you listen to my show, Mornings with Mistress Carrie on Laser, and also on 106.3 The Bone as well. And if you're wondering where you can listen to the station, listen to the podcast everywhere. All the big podcast apps. You can listen through the Pantheon Podcast Network. You can listen to all the episodes on YouTube. You can just go to mistresscarrie.com and find the episode you like and click play and listen that way. And it's been like this for a while, but we are still holding strong at 149 countries that are listening to the podcast. Someday we're going to get to 150. Someday. Let's see. Keith says you are in danger of being penalized. Why am I in danger of being penalized, Keith? What did I do? Bish says Creed is definitely a Christian rock band. See, that's the thing, is like I think the band members, because I wouldn't consider Alter Bridge to be a Christian rock band. I think a band being Christian, like the band members being Christians and a Christian rock band are two different things, in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but I look at those two things. I look at making music for the purpose of expressing religious overtones and expressing your faith is different than being a band that makes music that happens to be made up of members that are Christians. And I view those two things as being very different. I think if you listen to a lot of Christian rock radio, hey, will you stop? I think a lot of those songs, they literally, talk about the word, they sing about the word and him and Jesus. And it's like in the lyrics, whereas, there are a lot of Creed songs and a lot of POD songs where that is just not the case. So, Heidi says, Carrie, what's the best medicine to give your dog to help with fleas? My dog is getting attacked. Heidi, I have no idea. I am not an expert. I would definitely consult with your veterinarian for sure. I have only dealt with fleas once in my animals back in the day, and it was because my cat got them. Not recently. We had a cat when I was a kid, and the cat went to the vet and brought fleas home and then gave them to the dog, and then the fleas got in the house, and it was like a disaster. But I have not had to deal with fleas with the pugs, knock on wood. So I'm not really sure what the best treatment for that would be. Chad on Instagram says Scott Stapp's dad was a hardcore Christian person. Yeah, like people grow up with faith, but I think it's all about where you get the inspiration for your music and then what you do with your platform. There are the bands that use their platform to further their faith, to preach to other people, to use their platform to get politically involved based on their religious beliefs. Like that's what I would consider like a Christian rock band to be, as opposed to a band that's just Christians that makes music. Let's see. Jessica says, does anybody have any news on Jelly Roll? He is featured on the new legendary edition of the Bon Jovi Forever album that's coming out next month. He's been on tour in Europe with Post Malone and was on the VMAs live from Germany the other night. So Jelly Roll's good. He's down a couple 100 pounds. He's killing it. Denise says, I wouldn't think Skillet was, but they consider themselves Christian rock. When they played with Stryper in August, it was promoted as a Christian rock show. Denise, they're very open about being a Christian rock band. And the lead singer, when he does interviews, is very vocal about his, not only his religious beliefs, but also they have also gotten involved politically based on those religious beliefs, whereas other bands just don't do that. Because I think if you're a band that gets involved politically, there's a difference between being a political band, right? Like Rise Against or Rage Against the Machine. But I think when you have political leanings based on your faith and you openly talk about that in interviews, that it's something that you don't just hold as a private view anymore, I think that's when you really become a Christian rock band. Because the guys from POD don't get a ton of airplay on Christian rock radio, but the band members are all Christian. So, Yeah, Bish says, yeah, K-Love is definitely Christian rock. Oh, 100% it is. And they, you know, they don't try to hide from it at all, to the point where, you know, they are a nonprofit because of their religious status. When I was in Rolling Stone a few years ago, talking about why the company that bought up, you know, so many signals, including the old WAF signal, they're able to skirt rules because of their religious affiliation and their nonprofit status that commercial radio companies have to follow. And so I think that's kind of fucked up. But that's a whole, we tackled that in the Rolling Stone article. So let's see. Julie says, we don't mention that channel in this forum. Julia, look, it is what it is, man. All right, let's talk about birthdays. If you're celebrating your birthday today on September 9th, you share it with Otis Redding, Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics, and Michael Bublé. So if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. And we always say happy unbirthday to Keith as well. Whether or not he has pants on when we do it, who knows? So happy birthday to you if today's your birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Heidi says, Carrie, when are you going to get Maria Brink from In This Moment on the podcast again? I'm not sure, Heidi. My assumption would be when the new music comes out. Usually when bands either are getting ready to announce a tour, or they are releasing new music, or if the tour is coming through town, those are like usually the biggest reasons why they end up doing interviews and press. And because we just had her on the podcast a few months ago, and they told us, her and Chris both told us that they were working on new music. My assumption would be at some point in early 2026, when they decide to release a new album, that they'll come back on the show. She's awesome. Let's see. Betty says April's birthday is tomorrow. Well, we got to toast April as well. Would you ever have Jack Osbourne on the show? Eric wants to know. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think not only, you know, obviously there's Ozzy, right, who was just Ozzy, but I think the family, meaning Sharon, Kelly, and Jack, just because of their place on the reality show, they're fixtures in pop culture because of that. But Jack and Kelly were also instrumental in getting a lot of those younger bands on the Ozfest back in the day when they were teenagers, like Slipknot. Jack was a huge Slipknot fan. So the kids have always influenced Ozzy. Kelly Osbourne's the one that introduced Post Malone to Ozzy and told her dad, you guys should work together. And they ended up with a #1 single because of it. So I would have Jack on the show just because he's Ozzy's kid. I would have Jack on the show just because he was a reality television star. And I would have Jack on the show just to talk about his impact on rock music in general, because his influence over the bands, especially the second stage bands on the Ozfest, really gave a platform to, I think somebody said 326 bands launched off of the Ozfest over the years. I think that was the count, which is just like crazy. So yeah, I would totally have Jack Osbourne on the podcast. Are you kidding me? Wednesday, Friday, what is she? Who is she yelling at? Huh? There she went again. So there you go. All right. Let's give away some tickets. If you're still hanging out on the show by now, you deserve to win some stuff. The God is a Weapon tour. Falling in Reverse, I do not think is a Christian rock band. The Falling in Reverse, Slaughtered to Prevail, Hollywood Undead. They're going to be at the Xfinity Center in Mansfield on Saturday night, the 13th. And I have got some tickets to give away. So if you would like to go, this is how you win tickets here in the War Room. Right now, open up another window, go on your phone, however you do it, go to mistresscarrie.com. When you get to the homepage of the website in the top right-hand corner, there is going to be a button that says message the studio. You're going to click that button and you're going to put falling in the subject line, and you are going to send me your full name and your email address. And I am going to, as soon as the show is over, start sending out tickets. First come, first serve until all of my tickets are gone. So if you want to go and see Falling in Reverse, Slaughter to Prevail, and Hollywood Undead Saturday night in Mansfield, Mass. at the Xfinity Center, go to mistresscarrie.com, click the message the studio button, and then put Falling in the subject line and make sure I get your name and your email address. Those tickets, by the way, as all of the tickets always do, come digitally. You're going to get them via email. So that's why I need your email address. But the system through Ticketmaster and Live Nation also requires me to have your first and last name, which is why I need that as well. So there you go. All right, let's talk about some music and some of the biggest stories happening in music right now. System of a Down just finished their 6 sold-out stadium shows, 2 in New Jersey, 2 in Chicago, 2 in Toronto, with Korn, Avenged Sevenfold, and the Deftones. And now the news hit today that it sounds like they're hinting at a 2026 European and UK tour. They have been very vocal about the fact, speaking about politics, that some political differences are keeping the band from agreeing on how to move forward with new music. But it seems like they're open to playing some shows, which is very cool. So we'll see if they end up announcing a European tour, which would be very cool. The VMAs, the thing everybody's talking about, obviously, is the Ozzy tribute performance, which I thought was great. I thought, with as little rock time that rock and metal gets on the Grammys and the American Music Awards and on MTV, that I thought it really did show Ozzy's importance both as a musician but also as a cultural icon, because the Osbournes reality show launched on MTV, that they gave that much time during the telecast, which it was the first year that it aired on CBS. It streamed on Paramount Plus. And so if you missed it, it was Youngblood with Nuno Bettencourt and Kevin Figueroa from Extreme, and they came out and did Crazy Train, and then they did Black Sabbath's Changes, and then Steven Tyler and Joe Perry came out and they did Mama, I'm Coming Home, and then Youngblood came out and finished the song with Steven Tyler, and then the camera cut to Ariana Grande going, oh my God, Steven fucking Tyler is here, and she just was like, which became a meme, which is hilarious. Youngblood's stratospheric rise in the last few months has been insane. Now, he's been around for a while. I think his first album or EP came out in like 2018. So he's definitely been around for a while. A fixture in the British music scene. And I think the rock and metal world, seeing the respect that the Osbournes and Ozzy specifically had for him, the reverence they had for him, asking him to be part of that show was part of Ozzy highlighting a newer band, the same way, even though Rival Sons really isn't a new band, they were the newer band. Same thing with Hailstorm. Ozzy continuing to show off newer bands even at his last concert. And so Youngblood doing Changes at the Back to the Beginning concert like made him trend on every social media platform. Then to have him come out and be part of the Ozzy tribute at the VMAs, I thought was really cool. Look, like MTV doesn't really play music videos anymore. The music videos they play are definitely not rock and metal videos, but I think anytime a platform that big is given to rock and metal, I think it's a good thing. I think there have been a lot. I mean, look at all of the magazine covers that Ozzy has been on since he passed away 6 weeks ago. When I went to Rome, I'm at the airport and I'm at the newsstand, the bookstore, and every magazine, it was like People magazine, like all of the big mainstream. He was on the cover of USA Today, like that is good for rock and metal. That is part of Ozzy's legacy, is elevating the platform and the genre for everybody else. And so I thought that it was great. Same kind of thing last night. There were 2 rock performances on late night. Drowning Pool and Offset did a version of Bodies on The Tonight Show last night. If you haven't seen it, unexpected and really interesting. That was on The Tonight Show. And then on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, Spinal Tap did Big Bottom with like 7 bass players on the bass and on the bass and on the bass, because the new movie comes out this Friday, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, which I cannot wait. And also their new album comes out on Friday. And we're going to talk about new releases in a minute as well. Let's see. Trina says, Youngblood was a Disney kid playing a kid in a band. Yeah, and I think just like Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless, I think just like Chris Daughtry, who people got to know because of American Idol, I think because of that, people want to say that he's not genuine. And look, there are artists that think, getting some tattoos and trying to be in a rock band because it's trendy. I think that does happen, but I don't think anybody could argue that Taylor Momsen is a rock and metal singer now. I don't think anybody could argue that Chris Daughtry is not a legitimate rock artist. And so I think Youngblood is trying to get out from under decisions he made when he was a kid. Like, yeah, he was a kid, but that doesn't mean he wasn't influenced by rock. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have legitimate rock aspirations or talent for that matter. And I think the fact that Ozzy put him on that stage in July shows that I think Ozzy and Sharon and Sabbath, they all see Youngblood as something more than being a Disney kid. But he does get a lot of crap about that. Brett said, I loved seeing the teeny boppers singing to Ozzy. Look, everybody knows who Ozzy is. I think his passing, I struggle to imagine an artist that was more prolific and high profile in the rock and metal world than Ozzy, because of his cultural prowess. And even Nuno Bettencourt talked about it. Like, look, he was in Sabbath, and just being the singer of Sabbath would have been enough of a career. But then he completely reinvented himself and became a bigger artist as a solo artist. And then he became a reality star. And then he launched his own touring festival. He changed culture. He changed the way that bands merchandise themselves. He came up as a solo artist in the time of MTV and focused a lot on his videos. And so he really is a cultural icon above and beyond being a rock icon. So Brittany says, how do we win tickets? Brittany, I told you already, but I'll put it back up on the screen in case you missed it. If you want Falling in Reverse tickets, this is how you get them. Right now, go to mistresscarrie.com, click the message the studio button, write Falling in the subject line, and make sure I have your full name and your email address, and I'm going to give away tickets until all of my tickets are gone. All right, let's talk about some music and some tours. Shows at the TD Garden include Eric Clapton and Bryan Adams before the end of what has been a very busy touring year of 2025. The DCU Center has got Silver ScreamCon, the festival all weekend, the Ice Nine Kills show Saturday night at the DCU Center in the arena. And then 2 shows at the DCU Center coming up on November 29th for Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and those tickets go on sale this Friday. And Sleep Token's sold-out show on September 23rd at the DCU Center as well. Big Night Live in Boston has got From Ashes to New in November, and Everclear, Local H, and Sponge on October 21st. Friday just brought up Bone in here. The Xfinity Center is going to be busy this week. Thursday, Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace. Saturday, Falling in Reverse, the God is a Weapon tour. And then Sunday, the Rise of the Roach tour with Papa Roach, Rise Against, and Under Oath. So these outdoor shows are starting to come to an end. You can tell, like, have you had to close the windows at night yet, being up in the Northeast, because it's gotten down to the high 40s at night? the concert season is starting to come to an end outdoors. Indoors, no, we're still going strong. George Thorogood at the Lynn Auditorium, Bryan Adams at Mohegan, Seven Dust Southside Double Wide acoustic tour at the Somerville Theater in November. The Reunited Metalheads at the Wilbur, Spirit Box at the Oakdale Theater in Connecticut in December, Bush and Soul Asylum at the Mohegan Sun Arena. Let's see. Heart at the SNHU Arena and the Toyota Oakdale Theater. Creedmas got announced. That is Creed's final shows of the year. And the last show for Creed this year is going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut with Seven Dust on December 30th. Those tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Leader Bank Pavilion, the rock shows are done for the year. But these tours are going to start getting announced for next summer really, really soon because that's just how it works. Let's see. I don't know why the button is taking so long. Why is the button taking so long? Fenway Concert Series got finished with My Chemical Romance and Idols on the 7th. So they'll start announcing some of those shows probably right after the new year. So hopefully there's going to be some more rock shows at Fenway. There weren't that many of them this year. The Palladium in Worcester has got Mushroom Head in October, Guar in November, Atreyu, and then obviously the Metal and Hardcore Festival is coming as well. So still some outdoor stuff going on. Roadrunner in Boston has got Garbage, the aforementioned Youngblood, Iggy Pop. His show got moved from the stage at Suffolk Downs to Roadrunner. So if you had tickets to see him at Suffolk Downs, those tickets are still going to be honored at Roadrunner, but the show got moved. And then of Monsters and Men at the end of October as well. MGM Music Hall at Fenway, Alabama Shakes on the 14th, Seether, Daughtry, and POD on October 7th, Mudvayne and Static X on October 25th, and Cage the Elephant coming up on October 30th, just in time for my favorite day of the year, Halloween. Bruce Dickinson is going to be at the House of Blues in a couple days on the 11th. Avatar is going to be there towards the end of November. Also, Nothing More is going to be there at the end of February. And speaking of tours getting announced for next spring, Alter Bridge, Filter, and Tim Montana are going to be at the House of Blues May 10th. So yeah, these tours are already getting pushed. I did not add Tom Morello to this graphic, so I will drink for that. But Tom Morello and Friends is going to be at the Paradise Rock Club on November 17th. Lou says Zach Sabbath is going to be at the Toyota Oakdale Theater in November. I believe that's up on the concert calendar. It just didn't make it on the screen, but yes. Keith says, I have not been to a concert in 7 years. What? Keith, come on. For anyone who wants to go see Creed, do it. I saw them in Providence 2 weeks ago. Highly recommend, says Bish. Lou wants to know, is Roadrunner by the TD Garden? No, that is Big Night Live. That is by the TD Garden. And also City Winery is by the TD Garden. Roadrunner is on Guest Street in Brighton, an address you may remember. It is about a 2,200 seat venue that opened right around the same time that the MGM Music Hall at Fenway opened. But no, Roadrunner is in Brighton, and it is on Guest Street over by the New Balance building, which is visible from the Mass Pike. Come on, Wednesday. Come on, come up here. There you go. Good girl. Hold on. Let me show everybody your pretty faces. You guys are being cute. Oh, Wednesday's stealing Friday's bone. And Friday's going to want to steal her bone back. Right? Yeah, I know. You just like to be loved. I know you do. Show everybody your beautiful little pug faces. All right, let's see. I want to make sure we get through all of the concerts. MGM Music Hall at Fenway, we talked about, obviously. House of Blues, we talked about. Paradise, we talked about. Tom Morello. Sorry, I lost my place here. City Winery, I am waiting for an update on some rock shows, but Cold is going to be there October 27th for what they're calling like a stripped down and a different show with new arrangements of their music. It sounds like it's going to be like an unplugged tour. So that's going to be at City Winery at the end of October. The stage at Suffolk Downs, that Iggy Pop show moved, but Turnstile is still going to be there September 20th. New releases out this week. There's a lot of them. There's the new Behemoth. There's Between the Buried and Me. There's Dance Gavin Dance. There's the new Daughtry, Shock to the System Part 2 EP that's out. David Bowie, I Can't Give Everything Away, 2002 to 2016. Foreigners, Foreigner 4 Redux is out. Also the Grateful Dead. Zeppelin's live EP, and also the Physical Graffiti 50th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. Lorna Shore's new album is out. Motley Crue's From the Beginning is out. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, Fully Tailored is out. Silverstein, Pink Moon is out. Spinal Tap's The End Continues album comes out on Friday. And 21 Pilots Breach. Those are all out on Friday. Okay. Mail call. So, Melissa did a thing. I get a package, and it is the new 6.5 foot skeleton. It has lights and crazy eyeballs because my big skeleton that my sister gave me for my birthday is called Fezzik. We have decided that the smaller version of Fezzik we are going to call Buttercup. Buttercup is going to make her debut at Silver Scream Con. We're going to take Buttercup instead of Fezzik because Fezzik takes up a lot of room in the booth. So we're going to take Buttercup instead. Buttercup got a custom purple wig made, and also Buttercup fits in a 3X sweatshirt. So Buttercup is going to be dressed to impress at Silver Scream Con starting on Friday. So, girl, you are crazy. I appreciate that you can't decorate for Halloween this year because your house isn't ready after it's been almost a year that her family has been out of the house because her Halloween decorations caught the house on fire. So the fact that you shared your Halloween love with me this year and sent me Buttercup, it's amazing. You are out of your mind, but you have floors. You told us the other night when we did our private live stream for the Backstage Pass holders. So you're getting close. We're hoping she's going to be back in the house by the end of the year. So introducing Buttercup. There was no way I could get Buttercup in here in the war room. She does not sit down. She's got a metal frame skeleton up inside the skeleton. So I could not bring her into the war room. So I set her up and took pictures for you. So there she is. So Sherry says, love the name. Melissa always does a thing. I know she does a thing, and she did a thing. So yeah, she's outside her mind. Okay, good news. The reflective beanies are ordered and in production right now. I just don't know when they're coming. And I also wanted to show you guys the new stickers because they came in. So the I Rode with Mistress Carrie stickers that I used to have for years when I was on the air at AAF have been redesigned. And these are helmet stickers for bike helmets, motorcycle helmets, bicycle helmets, snowboarding helmets, your construction helmets, like whatever kind of helmet you wear. This is perfect. So the helmet stickers are out, and also by popular demand, they obviously needed to be reconfigured, but we changed up the very popular Property of Mistress Carrie bumper stickers that I had for years at WAF. Obviously, I can't print anything with that logo on it, so we decided to change it up a little bit. I think they came out great. So these stickers, I have reconfigured the sticker pack that's available on the website in the online store. And now you get 12 stickers in the sticker pack. And these new stickers are now part of the sticker pack. So if you want to get the stickers in person, you can come to Silver Scream Con and I'm going to have them. Or they have been added to the sticker pack that you can order online at mistresscarrie.com. So I present to you the Princess Buttercup. Thank you, Rachel, for getting the reference. I appreciate that. Yeah, Melissa, like, she's just thebomb.com. So We're going to have to think about something special. I keep trying to hook Melissa up with concert tickets and like VIP meet and greets, and she's always gallivanting around the country. She's always traveling somewhere. So one of these days, I'm going to be able to hook you up in a major way, Melissa, to show you how grateful I am for all of the amazing things that you do for both me and the girls in here. 22 pounds of stickers. Yeah, that's how much the box weighed when it showed up. I think it was 2,750 stickers of each kind. And they come in like bricks of like 100 or whatever. So it's a lot of stickers. Scooter stickers. Yeah. Stickers for your laptops. Like, you know, whatever kind of stickers you want. There's the helmet stickers. These are the exact same size as the old I Rode with Mistress Carrie stickers. And these are the exact same. They were made by the same company. These are the exact same size as the original Property of Mistress Carrie stickers. And so because this artwork is all done, I think this logo is going to turn into t-shirts and tank tops, as it should be. So we're going to design some stuff, but hopefully we're going to get some new stuff for the holidays, as you wish. Thank you very much. Let's see. I am now on a mission to find her a purple crown. Oh my God. Let's see. Carrie, I need one of those beanies ASAP, says Bish. I just was messaging with T-shirt Brian after business hours tonight because I was hoping to get an update on the beanies for the War Room tonight. He said that he was not in the office and that he is going to get an update on the production tomorrow. He's going to let me know when I should be able to expect them. And obviously a box of beanies is not like shipping a box of bumper stickers. It's not going to be as heavy. And so I'm hoping that once the production is done, that they'll be able to get them to me pretty quickly. So I would love it if I could get them by Silver Scream Con, but if not, I'm hoping that I have them for the Johnny Appleseed Festival. But before that happens, the Backstage Pass holders will know about it, and they'll be available to purchase online. So speaking of the Backstage Pass holders, we just had our exclusive live stream on Sunday night, which we do every month. You find out who's going to be on the podcast, who I'm looking to get on the podcast, so that you can tell me what you want to know about them. You get travel blog updates, early access to event tickets. You also get access to exclusive concert ticket giveaways, which right now the Backstage Pass holders have access to Breaking Benjamin tickets with 3 days grace, Falling in Reverse tickets that didn't make it on this graphic, and also Papa Roach and Rise Against tickets. So if you have a Backstage Pass, you still have access to those tickets. And I believe you also have access to the Ice Nine Kill show at Silver Scream Con coming up on Saturday night. So having a Backstage Pass has its benefits, and you also get discounted merchandise in the online store as well. So go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie or go to mistresscarrie.com and click the Patreon logo if you want to get yourself a Backstage Pass. A reminder of all the places you can find me on social media and all the radio stations where you can hear me every weekday, and all the radio station apps that you can listen to. So no matter where you are, you can listen to the Mistress Carrie radio show. And a final reminder about the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock page on Facebook. It is a public group on Facebook that is in existence for the sole purpose of supporting veterans. I appreciate that you guys flag content that is not veteran related. Sometimes you guys flag content by veteran-owned businesses that are promoting themselves because you don't know that they're veteran-owned businesses, but I do. So I let those fly. So there's a real estate agent on there that promotes his listings, but he's a veteran, and so I want to support his real estate business. If you're a company that's looking to hire veterans, this is a great place to network and advertise and try to fill a void. If you're a veteran-owned business, this is a great place for people to get to know that you're out there. If you are looking for volunteer opportunities to support our veterans, this is a great place to go. And if you're a veteran and you are looking for organizations, if you're looking for information and resources, there's over 4,100 people as part of this public group on Facebook, and it continues to grow. So go on Facebook, just search Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock, join the group, make sure the veterans in your friend circle, the people you're friends with on social media that are veterans, make sure they know about this group as well. The bigger we can get this group, the more good that we can do, the more that we can push for veterans initiatives, the more that we can support veteran-owned businesses, the more that we can garner support and fundraising for veterans events and veterans nonprofits. So this is not just for veterans, but it's for people that want to support veterans, and it's also for veterans as well. And it's a great place for veterans to connect. We've had people that have joined this group and then all of a sudden realized someone else in the group was someone they served with, and they reconnected based on that, which is really cool. So Jason says, my brother's band, Full Count, may be opening for the Dropkick Murphys at a club in Quincy. Don't know all of the details, but I'm trying to help out and put in a plug for him. Well, that's fantastic. Let's see. You can give those stickers to Sully, Friends with Benefits. You guys are wonderful, says Lou. Good place to go to get help with retirement issues. So Betty, ask that question in the group. Put that up there and get as specific as you're willing to get without giving out too much personal information. But absolutely go on the Veterans Rock group and ask that question, looking for information on retirement issues, and be specific. There's a lot of veteran service officers that follow this group and are members of this group. And Betty, I would also direct you to go. Every city and town in Massachusetts has a veteran service officer or a VSO. So go on your city or town's official municipal website and search that website for Veterans Affairs and find out who your VSO is, what their office hours are, what their phone number and email are, because that's their entire job. And a lot of people don't even realize those VSOs are there, and that's their job, is to help the veterans in their community. And there's a lot of those VSOs in this group and that can help you publicly, but you can also reach out privately. But 100%, if you're having retirement issues, Betty, you can go straight to that group, and you can even ask who's the VSO in whatever town, and somebody will be able to help you connect. Bish says, Carrie doing the Disabled Vets 5K on Castle Island in November. It helps homeless and disabled veterans. It is our 10th year this year. Well, you're going to do it with a reflective beanie on, sir, because we're definitely going to have them by then. So Mr. Cole says a good VSO. Well, look, here's the thing. If your VSO is not good, then you need to let the powers that be know that. You need to complain to City Hall about that. You need to make some noise about that, because the VSO, because of the budget cuts in government funding for government employees, those staffing cuts have affected all different resources, including veterans trying to get somebody on the phone to answer, like an actual body on the phone to answer their questions. So those VSOs in these cities and towns are like the last line of defense to help veterans in their communities. We can't afford to have bad VSOs. So let's not have bad VSOs. Raise your voice if you've got a bad VSO, because that is not okay. Melissa wants to know, are you doing any more grunge brunches? So I have been trying to find some venues to do grunge brunches in Portland and in Springfield. I actually am going to be doing like a big staff like luncheon with everybody at Laser in the next couple of weeks. And that's going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about is the grunge brunches and bringing those back. So the answer is yes. There's just none on the calendar right now. So there you go. All right, guys. That is it. Mark Strait says honor flight out of Logan on September 14th. Make sure those honor flights get posted on the Veterans Rock page. Anytime there is an older veteran that passes away and they need veterans to attend the funerals, all of those kinds of things, the Veterans Rock group is a great place to get the word out about those things as well. So definitely post the honor flight information, Mark, on the Veterans Rock group. So, all right, episode 275 of the podcast featuring Spencer Charnas from Ice Nine Kills goes live at midnight tonight. I will see you guys at Silver Scream Con this weekend, and then I will see you guys back here in the War Room next Tuesday. So, girls, do you want to say goodnight? Do you want to say goodnight? Say thank you to everybody for joining us in the War Room? Yeah? Say goodnight. We love you. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week.